The rain fell mercilessly that night. The city of Brookstone, usually alive with lights and laughter, seemed swallowed by the storm. Somewhere beyond the skyline, inside a rusted warehouse surrounded by shadows, a woman's muffled cries echoed against steel walls. Her name was Elena Carter, CEO of Carter Technologies, a company that had revolutionized digital security. She was known as a fierce leader, sharp-minded, and untouchable in the boardroom. People admired her confidence and brilliance, but beneath her success lay a loneliness she rarely admitted to anyone. She had sacrificed love, family, and time to build her empire. Now, none of it mattered. She was handcuffed to a chair, her wrists burning, her heart pounding. The men surrounding her demanded billions for her release. And in their eyes, she wasn't a woman, she was a prize to be exploited. Elena closed her eyes, whispering a silent prayer. She had always fought her battles alone. But this? She knew she couldn't escape on her own. And far across the city, her prayers were about to be answered in a way she never expected. Chapter 2, The Hidden Hero. Daniel Hayes sat in his small, dimly lit living room, staring at the flickering screen of an old TV. The news report replayed Elena's abduction over and over. His jaw clenched as he listened to the announcer's grim tone. He wasn't supposed to care. For years, Daniel had hidden away from the world, raising his little daughter Lily in peace. To the world, he was just a widowed single dad, quiet and hardworking. But Daniel had a secret, one he had buried for years. He wasn't just a man. He was different. Stronger. Faster. Capable of things no human should ever be able to do. Years ago, when his wife died in a tragic car accident, Daniel made a promise to himself: he would never expose his daughter to the dangers of his powers again. He would live quietly, be a father first, and leave the world to fight its own battles. But tonight, seeing Elena's terrified face on the screen, something stirred in him. He couldn't explain why. Maybe it was her eyes, filled with both fear and defiance. Maybe it was because he saw in her the same loneliness he carried. Or maybe, deep down, Daniel simply couldn't stand injustice. Not when he had the power to stop it. He stood, grabbed his jacket, and whispered to the photo of his late wife on the shelf. "I have to do this. For her. For them." Chapter 3, The Warehouse. The warehouse reeked of gasoline and cigarette smoke. Elena's kidnappers laughed as they counted stacks of weapons, their greed fueling their confidence. Suddenly, the large steel door groaned. A shadow moved across the floor. Daniel stepped inside, water dripping from his jacket, his eyes glowing faintly under the dim lights. "Who the hell are you?" one thug barked, pointing a gun. Daniel's voice was calm, cold. "The man who's giving you one chance to walk away." The kidnappers burst into laughter. "You think you're a hero? You're one man against 10. But the moment they fired, their laughter turned into screams. Bullets bounced off Daniel's skin like raindrops. He moved with blinding speed, disarming men before they could blink. A table flew across the room as he hurled it aside effortlessly. Within seconds, chaos replaced their arrogance. Elena's eyes widened as she watched the impossible unfold before her. Who was this man? A soldier? A mutant? A miracle? Daniel knelt before her, his rough hands breaking her chains with a single pull. "You're safe now," he whispered, his eyes softening. And in that instant, something unexplainable passed between them. A spark. A connection. For the first time in hours, Elena didn't feel fear. She felt protected. Chapter 4, The Escape. Daniel lifted her into his arms. "Hold on to me," he said. "Wait, what are you?" Before she could finish, he sprinted. The world blurred around her. Rain froze in midair. The city flashed by in streaks of light. Elena clung to him, gasping, her heartbeat thundering in her chest. When he finally stopped, they were miles away, standing inside an abandoned church lit only by the flickering glow of candles left behind. Elena staggered, struggling to catch her breath. "Who are you?" she whispered. Daniel hesitated, looking away. Just a father. But Elena wasn't fooled. She had seen the power in his eyes, the fury in his fists. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. No. You're something else. You saved me when no one else could. Tell me why. Daniel's shoulders dropped. He told her about Lily, about losing his wife, about the life he had chosen to live quietly. He confessed how he never wanted to use his powers again, but something about Elena's abduction had pulled him back into the fire. Elena's throat tightened. She understood the weight of sacrifice. She, too, had lived alone, hiding her own heart behind walls of responsibility. For the first time in years, she let her guard down. You risked everything for me, she whispered. I don't even know your name. Daniel, he said softly. And in the quiet of the broken church, Elena repeated it like a promise. Daniel. But their peace shattered when Daniel's phone rang. It was Lily's babysitter, hysterical. Daniel. Men came to the house, they took her. They took Lily. The blood drained from Daniel's face. His hands trembled as the phone slipped from his grasp. No, he whispered. His worst nightmare had come true. Elena gripped his arm. Then we don't waste time. We go after them. Together. Daniel looked at her, torn between rage and despair. I can't let you. You saved me, Daniel. Let me help you save her. For the first time, Daniel realized Elena wasn't just a victim. She was fierce. Determined. And he needed her. Chapter 6, The Hunt. They drove through the night, Elena using her company's surveillance systems to track the kidnappers. She hacked into traffic cameras, intercepted calls, and used every ounce of her intelligence to guide Daniel. Meanwhile, Daniel wrestled with his emotions. His powers made him nearly unstoppable, but when it came to Lily, fear clouded his mind. She was his everything. Losing her would mean losing his soul. At one point, Elena placed her hand gently on his. You won't lose her. You're the strongest man I've ever met. And not because of your powers, but because of your heart. Daniel glanced at her, surprised. And for the first time since Lily's abduction, hope flickered inside him. Chapter 7, The Final Battle. They found Lily in another warehouse, guarded, fortified, surrounded by men with weapons. But nothing could stop Daniel now. Fueled by love, he charged in like a storm. Guns shattered. Walls crumbled. Every blow he struck was powered by a father's fury. At last, he reached the room where Lily was tied up. Daddy, she cried, tears streaming down her face. Daniel ripped the chains apart and pulled her into his arms, sobbing as he held her close. I've got you, baby. Daddy's here. Elena stood in the doorway, watching with tears in her eyes. She had never seen love so raw, so unbreakable. The kidnappers, beaten and defeated, fled into the night. But none of it mattered anymore. Daniel had Lily back. Chapter 8, Healing. In the days that followed, Elena visited Daniel and Lily often. She brought groceries, helped clean up the damage to his small home, and even read bedtime stories with Lily. Slowly, Daniel realized something. Elena wasn't just grateful. She was becoming part of their lives. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching Lily play, Elena turned to Daniel. Her voice trembled, but her eyes shone with certainty. You didn't just save me, Daniel. You saved my heart. And I think I'd been waiting for you all along. Daniel stared at her, stunned. For years, he had closed himself off, convinced love was no longer meant for him. But now, here she was, a woman who saw him not as a hero, but as a man. And maybe, just maybe, he was ready to let his heart beat again. Final message. Love doesn't always come in the way we expect. Sometimes it finds us in the middle of storms, battles, and brokenness. Daniel's story reminds us that true strength isn't about powers or money, it's about love. A father's love for his child. A man's love for a woman. And the courage to open your heart, even after pain. And Elena's story shows us that even the strongest, most independent souls need someone to fight for them and someone to come home to. Together, Daniel, Elena, and Lily discovered that family isn't about perfection. It's about love, sacrifice, and never giving up on each other. Call to action. Glowing star, if this story moved you, please share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us, what does love